After 9 days of searching for Michael Burham, the alleged kidnapper and murderer, the manhunt came to an end on Saturday night, July 15th. Not with a crash, not with a moan, but with a dog's bark. Around 5:50 p.m., Pennsylvania state troopers and local deputies led a disheveled and exhausted Michael Burham out of a wooded area. Nearly 2 hours prior, a family's dog had alerted them to a trespasser on their property, leading to the tip being submitted. The man told them he had just been camping when they confronted him. But when the couple saw him, he ran into the woods and they called the police. After dispersing throughout the wooded area of Warren County, Pennsylvania, officers and troopers were able to catch up with him and take him into custody without any casualties or fatalities. Burham was in a sorry state when they found him, having spent the previous week hiding out and living in the woods. He would be returning to prison with additional charges against him, exhausted, filthy, and wearing his prison-issue pants inside out to conceal the stripes. How then did this escape take place? This man, who was he? And what exactly had he done to so many people to put him at the center of a nationwide manhunt? Let's investigate the lurid tale of Michael Burham, the escapee. Prior to starting, we would like to sincerely apologize to Kayla Mae Hodgkins's family and friends for her untimely passing during the events leading up to this. We also want to let Jessica and David Anunson know that we are concerned about their possible kidnapping by this man. It is our hope that Burham is prosecuted before anyone else suffers harm. Please keep in mind that Michael Burham is only accused of committing the crimes. None of the accusations made against him prior to the escape have been proven. A judge and a jury of his peers will have to decide whether or not he is guilty. Regarding the escape, everything would appear to be clear-cut. Let's quickly review Michael Charles Burham's biography. His last known residence was in Asheville, New York, which is located just west of Jamestown. He is 34 years old. Additionally, he held some real estate in Russell, Pennsylvania, which is close to Warren. He is a passionate outdoor enthusiast who learned survival skills on his own. He has extensive knowledge of the region between Jamestown, New York, and Warren, Pennsylvania, especially the massive Allegheny National Forest, which is almost 800 square miles of forested wilderness. From February 2008 until December 2020, Burham was a member of the U.S. Army Reserve. He held positions as a 91C utility equipment repairer and a 92W water treatment specialist in the reserves. In Jamestown, New York, Burham also had 2 children, one with a different woman. One of the women, Kayla Mae Hodgkin, 34, who was the mother of his 11-year-old daughter, claimed that on March 13, 2023, in Jamestown, New York, she had been sexually assaulted and held against her will. An arrest warrant was issued for him, and Burham would subsequently be the subject of numerous searches. It seems that Michael had crossed state lines once more into Pennsylvania and taken up hiding somewhere close to the town of Warren, which is located slightly over 60 miles away. Before returning to Jamestown, according to the police, to exact revenge on Kayla, he was able to evade arrest for almost a month. Jamestown police were called to 125 William Street on May 11th in response to a report of gunfire. When they arrived, Kayla Hodgkin appeared to have been shot, but she was not responding. She would die soon from those fatal wounds. A few minutes later, there was a report of a domestic disturbance with an attempted break-in at 109 Fulton Street, prompting the dispatch of another patrol car from across town. The culprit had already left the scene and set fire to a BMW that was parked in the street when police arrived. Nicole Olive, the mother of Michael Burham's 13-year-old son, lived in the house. A man who resembled Michael shook the doorknob and tried to enter, as seen in footage taken from Nicole's Ring doorbell camera. Shortly after, there was another arson incident at Danielson Oil in the town. However, the connection between these incidents is still under investigation. Authorities promptly issued a BOLO, be on the lookout, alert for Michael. It is believed that Burham crossed the state line right away. The Federal Bureau of Investigation claims in the criminal complaint brought before Magistrate Judge Kenneth Schroeder Jr. that a car that was reported to have been seen at both residences was, in fact, a single vehicle that Burham had rented. Burham's credit card was used to guarantee the rental car from Enterprise Rent-A-Car. According to the FBI, Michael Burham was once the owner of the property at 4681 Miller Hill Road in Russell, Pennsylvania, and the phone number that was provided was also registered to him. FBI Special Agent Jeffrey Hamza said that Burham would return the rental car and that the man was visible on surveillance tapes walking away from the scene. Burham would leave a nearby hotel not long after. According to investigations, Burham had checked into that hotel on May 9th, paying with his own credit card and presenting his driver's license from the state as identification at that time. Subsequently, in Warren, Pennsylvania, a different car that was connected to Burham and had been seen at the hotel was found, seemingly abandoned by the man. In the days ahead, there would be no more sightings of Michael. Burham abandoned the car and vanished, maybe hiding in one of the surrounding forests. Burham stayed under the radar as police from Warren, Pennsylvania and Jamestown, New York, assisted by federal and state authorities, searched the area. Regular news articles about him were published, and posters seeking him were distributed around the area, but to no result. Then, on May 20th, about 9 days later, a 911 call prompted state police in Pennsylvania to check on the well-being of an elderly couple residing in Sheffield, Pennsylvania, which is only 12 miles away. Despite being anticipated at their granddaughter's soccer match earlier in the day, Jessica and David Aronson never showed up. The daughter had called their home and cell phones, but no one had returned their calls, and their silver 2022 Honda CR-V was nowhere to be found. Police in Pennsylvania and nearby states immediately filed a missing persons report, and they started searching for the couple and the Honda. The South Carolina Highway Patrol would be called into a report that the Aronsons had been found, fortunately, alive the following day, on May 21st. They identified the man as Michael Burham and informed the police that he had abducted them and held them at gunpoint. Before they met the man, they claimed to have seen the alerts about him and knew who he was right away. After that, they told police, he made them get into the car and drove them south and out of the search area, forcing them to cross at least 3 more state lines before making them get out of the vehicle at a cemetery. Fortunately, he left the elderly couple stranded in North Charleston, South Carolina, a long way from home but not too badly damaged. He drove off without causing them any more harm. Soon after being dropped off, Aronson's Honda CR-V could be found a short distance down the road by state troopers and police. The car, abandoned, had a very curious note left inside, written by Michael Burham, and addressed to his father, Wally Burham. It read, "Hey Dad, I'm safe for now. Just left the area. Sorry for all the problems I caused the family. I quit drinking since May the 10th. I am not sorry for what I did, however. I do feel terrible about the children. I would like and to adopt. Talk to you soon. Love, Mike. P.S. Have. Transfer the phone to your name." Police from surrounding areas and Berkeley County deputies were placed on alert to search for any indications of Burham. In one instance, deputies stopped a man who was riding a bicycle down a country road and questioned him at the roadside once backup officers showed up. The outcome of the stop was captured on dashcam video from one of the backup patrol cars that was present. He starts to assess his chances as the officers question him. Burham made the decision to flee and headed into the woods after assessing the 3 deputies' physical state. The deputies lunged after him in a nearly comical manner before quickly abandoning their pursuit on foot. Soon after, a resident of the neighborhood would notify the police that an odd man had been spotted close to a shed on their land. On May 24th, after dispatching a larger police contingent, Burham was apprehended and taken out of the woods. On June 14th, he was scheduled to be moved to Buffalo, New York, to face the interstate felony charges. The federal charges against him would be dropped in order to facilitate his extradition and prosecution in Pennsylvania. New York State would then prosecute him for the alleged murder and arson. Burham would be placed in the Warren County Jail on June 20th in order to wait for his trial under a $1 million bond. And wait he did, for the time being. Burham was permitted to use the yard for exercise for an hour every day in accordance with regulations set forth by the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections. The yard on the top floor of this small facility, designed to house individuals awaiting trial or sentenced to less than 2 years of medium security imprisonment, was an enclosed chain link cage exposed to the elements, with chain link covering the top of the cage. There was also a weight machine and exercise equipment inside the 40 by 40 foot enclosure. Burham and 2 other prisoners were permitted to use the space for exercise each day, and the yard was watched over by detention officers both physically and by CCTV. Burham must have noticed a weak point or possibly a fractured area in the enclosure at the top of the cage during this time. When he realized that location was close to the pull-up bars apparatus, he devised a plan that involved making a rope out of bedsheets provided by the prison. Just after 11 p.m. on Thursday, July 6th, Burham and the other 2 prisoners were released into the yard. He remained in the CCTV camera's field of view 22 minutes later. He vanished after 23 minutes. In the few minutes it took them to confirm what they saw, Burham had ascended the pull-up machine, gotten past the chain-link fence, and then scaled the building's metal roof. He fastened his rope and descended to a height of about 4 stories below the ground, a height that probably would have killed him had the ropes not slipped or he had lost his grip. Security camera footage of his escape from the jail that evening is the last anyone has seen of him. Wearing a denim jacket issued by the prison, orange Crocs shoes, pants and shirt with stripes, he vanished into the night. The moment Michael Burham escaped, the authorities issued an all-out alert warning everyone to be on the lookout for him and to consider him dangerous and armed. Resources from the local, state, and federal levels were summoned, knowing that he was a self-taught survivalist with good knowledge of the nearby 800-square-mile Allegheny National Forest. About 15 agencies started scouring the surrounding roads and towns. FBI agents, park rangers, state police, patrolmen, deputies, fish and wildlife officers, and park rangers descended upon the scene. The man had already been charged with 1 murder and 1 kidnapping, so residents were asked to keep their houses and cars locked. Drones, tracking dogs, and helicopters would be dispatched to look for the man. In the days that followed, leads were pursued, 2 possible stashes of survival gear were located, and doubts were raised about whether or not he had received help from anyone in the community. The survivors of Kayla Hodgkin's home attack were escorted to safety back in Jamestown, New York, while Nicole Overton and her family were placed under protective custody in case he managed to return. Only hours before he escaped, according to phone records from the jailhouse, he had made a call to his son at her residence. He inquired about the boys' 4th of July activities and whether he and his mother were still at their house. There would be about 200 officers actively looking for the man over the course of the next 9 days. His suspicions that he would be stuck in the area and face greater challenges this time proved to be accurate. A few hours before dusk on July 15th, Burham was led in handcuffs out of the woods. It was time for him to land. With even more charges against him, he would be brought back to the jail and swiftly moved to a more secure facility to await trial. Michael Burham's new court date was not yet scheduled at the time of this video. The local jail was scheduled for repairs at the request of the Warren County Commission, and an inspection by the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections was requested in order to strengthen security. If this trial results in anything, or if Michael Burham manages to vanish once more, we'll keep you informed. Notwithstanding the thrill of the escape, the manhunt, and the capture, we must keep in mind that the crimes Burham is allegedly guilty of are some of the worst in history. We should be grateful that he didn't hurt anyone else while fleeing if he was the one who carried out the crimes. If you thought this case was strong, please remember to like the video, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Additionally, click the notification bell to be informed whenever we uncover a new, shocking case. Until we speak again, be careful and vigilant. You never know what might be hiding in the dark.